live from that classic attraction, the Mad Hatter Tea Party. Get ready for the next episode of the Resort Loop podcast with Tim and Bob and Tim. Fish Sean Wu signing out.
Quiet!
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
There's so much in life worth celebrating, and this year, Walt Disney World is making it possible to give your special moments the magic touch they deserve.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us to the Gateway to the Magic. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar, episode 91.
91.
We are 9. I can't do math today.
Well, we're not done with this one yet, so you can round down.
All right, 10 shows away from 100.
Dun, da, da, da.
The magic number of 100. I don't know why that's a magic number, but
I don't know either.
feels like it should be.
I guess. There needs to be a special year-long celebration.
I don't think anybody's going to celebrate us for a year.
No,
not even our wives.
No. Lucky to get a cupcake.
Right. Hey, real quick, I wanted to throw out this. You remember Stacy? She asked us about having taken 5 people to Walt Disney World.
Yes, we did the whole show recently on that.
Yeah. She had the 3 kids. She sent us another message. She said she just thought of another option. Invite the grandparents to tag along, and one of the kids can stay in their room.
Fantastic.
Yeah, whichever kid is causing you the most trouble, that's the one that goes
the tosser and turner, the sleepwalker.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
We had a good friend of the show, Wyatt. He sent us, or sent you.
Yes.
I don't count. No, he sent you a little something special, didn't he, on Facebook?
He did. He was looking for
Tim's Facebook page, yeah.
Yeah, over at Resort Loop Tim, he sent me a little link, or like a picture of a classic Mickey waffle maker for sale.
Ooh.
I know he was looking for something else, and he said, "No, I don't have to steal one off the cruise ship." So, Wyatt, thank you for thinking of me. I will say, while it's a great-looking waffle, it's not quite the same as the ones on the cruise ships and at the hotels. It's pretty darn close, though, but I just love that smaller size. A few more nooks and crannies, get a little crispy on there. The butter melts. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
Although I might have to check out this one out a little more in detail, to get something till I can, what we'll just call the extraction from the cruise ship.
I was all ready, man. I had the harness ready to go to lower stuff down.
You had the Mission Impossible music queued up on your iPod. You were ready to go.
I was ready. So anyway, before we start the show, we have a special trip report from a good pal, Buffalo Bysmith, on the Twitter. Said, hey guys, it's Buffalo Bysmith. We've been back from Disney for a little over a week now, and I can't get the darn place out of my head. I'm still drinking out of my rapid refill cup and sniffing the H2O hand soap in hopes of catching just a little bit more magic until the next trip. We had such a great time. I wasn't sure what to expect with a Christmas trip, but both his wife and him are teachers, and I can tell you definitely prefer to fight the crowds of winter over the crowds of summer. You can't beat that December Florida weather. However, since we were prepared, the crowds really were quite manageable. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today as preparation, especially going down there. He goes on to say he's going to sum up his trip. These are the best 3 things that happened to him. He said, despite all the uproar, I loved my magic bands. It made paying for things super easy. Not necessarily a good thing. And there was no more fiddling for cards when getting into the parks or our rooms. As far as the Fast Pass Plus goes, we used extra magic hours and got into the parks early. By the time the crowd showed up, we had ridden everything we wanted when we took a rest back at the hotels and used our Fast Pass Plus in the afternoon. So besides, there's so much more to do at Disney than to ride the big rides over and over. The other thing he really liked was the scavenger hunts. At the Magic Kingdom, which we've talked about that. The Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom is one, and he did the Pirates one as well. And he would just kill for another Dole Whip right now. So,
who wouldn't?
Really. And then his the bad things that he he talked about on the trip were the cameras. Why can't people just enjoy the present instead of worrying about digitally chronicling the tiniest minutia of their vacation? Many a ride or show was nearly ruined by the glow of a cell phone screen or the flash of a camera. And he said the shuttle buses, he said that he was so glad that they drove down because a couple of times they decided to use Disney transportation. They were greeted with long waits and sardine-like transportation. The monorail was always great, though. And we've talked about that.
Right, yeah.
The buses, especially during the holidays, are it's going to be crowded.
Oh, it's going to be crowded, and the buses will get you there. Maybe not the most comfortably, but they will get you there. So
right. You might, and again, it's going to add time to your trip. So, and finally, he says the Be Our Guest children's menu. He wasn't too happy with that. He said they were so excited to walk right into the restaurant at lunch, only to turn around and leave after deciding that their children would not eat anything they serve.
Oh, wow.
He says, granted, he has some picky eaters, but he can't be the only one with that issue.
Right, and you don't want to get like the peanut butter and jelly when you're paying that kind of money to eat there either.
Right, you know? So, and we're looking forward. We're going to have a special food show coming up pretty soon, and that'll be a topic where maybe we can touch upon.
I do love the food shows.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Stephen. Goes by @BuffaloBysmith on the Twitter. Follow him. And now it's time to start. Now it's time to start the show, Tim. We also are going to answer yet another question. We are like all over this.
We are all over this like salt on Spam.
Oh. That's not going to be part of the food show, is it?
No. I don't think it will be. I love these quick turnarounds, though. People sent us a topic. We're just going to turn around and just do a show on it.
Absolutely. If we can, we absolutely will. And Mike LaBelle sent us a question on our website.
Yes.
ResortLoop.com.
He did.
He says, "Hey, guys, I love your show. It's one of my favorites. Been a listener for a while now. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
But I have a question. My girlfriend and I are thinking about road tripping it to Walt Disney World this year for Star Wars weekends with our 3-year-old and our best friend. We live in New Hampshire, so it's about a 22-hour drive for us. Do you have any tips for us on road tripping?" And then another listener of the show, James Yip, followed up on that, said, "Great question, Mike. I'd like to know as well, coming from New Jersey, though. He'd be the only driver along with his wife, 3-year-old son, and 5-year-old daughter." So that's very similar to what you and I have done.
Absolutely.
In the past. Now, New Hampshire, that's up by North Dakota, isn't it? Somewhere up in... no?
That's close to Canada.
Oh, okay. No. New Hampshire, I'm just going to tell you mine real quick, and this is the way I feel about it. The average person is awake for anywhere from 16 to 18 hours a day.
Right.
You start sneaking up on that 20-hour mark, and your body just, it doesn't like it. Unless you're a truck driver or someone who drives for a living, your body starts to say, "I've had enough."
Oh, yes.
And 22 hours is a long way to go if you were thinking about commando styling it down like you and I do, Tim. What do you think of that?
Well, I know it's almost pushing it for me to do it in 16 hours, which, it takes us.
Right.
So,
right.
Unless you're going to split driving times with, your girlfriend or something, I wouldn't, I would spend a night on the way down, especially for the 3-year-old. The 3-year-old's going to get really cranky.
Yeah.
After a while. And you're going to want to make some frequent stops on the way down for bathroom stops. Let the 3-year-old stretch their legs. Everybody, get something to drink.
Exactly. And keep in mind, they're going down I-95.
Oh, God bless them.
And I do know where New Hampshire is. They're going to have to deal with not only New York traffic.
Yes.
Philadelphia traffic, Washington, D.C. traffic,
yes.
and really the entire eastern side of the United States, which is obviously the most populated. So they're gonna really have to think about timing on when to leave, I think.
You're going to want to leave there, so you're driving through those major cities at night, in the middle of the night if you can. If you can drive in the middle of the night, I would do that.
Right. And we know Cleveland rush hour traffic.
Yes.
And Cleveland rush hour traffic is nothing compared to most major cities.
It drives us crazy. And you get to something like a DC and that Beltway. You're just, no.
Yeah.
You want to go through there at night.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? I'll be honest. I've driven through DC at 3 o'clock in the morning going to Virginia Beach, and it was like rush hour traffic in Cleveland at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was ridiculous. I didn't know where everybody was going, what was going on. It was crazy. So yeah, it's going to be a timing thing. You're going to have to really figure out what time you want to leave. Now, I think, wouldn't you say, Tim, after you get past DC, it kind of would free up a little bit?
I would think so. Once you get past the Beltway and get down into the Virginia, North Carolina, you should be good for quite a while.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the best course of action for them is to get up really early in the morning.
How early are you thinking?
Yeah, leave like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Maybe.
I agree.
Get through that by 6 o'clock.
Yeah, if you can. Especially if the 3-year-old will sleep in the car.
Right.
You want them to sleep as much at night as they can. Hopefully they'll be up, while you're driving for a few hours. And then you don't want them to nap too much, because when you get to your hotel, if you are stopping halfway in between or making a stop on the way down, you want them to go to bed that night.
Right.
So hopefully there's a pool, maybe they could wear themselves out, a playground they could run around at. Because trust me, after a long car ride, you're going to want them to stretch their legs.
Right. And I know not the last time, but the time before that I drove down, it may have just been something I ate, but by the time I got there, and I did the majority of the driving as well, I just did not feel good. And I needed the sleep. So that next day, that first day at Disney, I was worthless. I don't know. It sounds to me like they have 3 folks that can drive.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you can split that up, that would be great.
I know.
Now,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I was just going to say, like you, I usually do most of the driving. Don will maybe drive a couple hours here and there to let me rest my eyes. But after, after driving on the highway, like 65 miles an hour, you start seeing those lines going by.
Yeah.
When you start slowing down or you stop, you still kind of feel that motion. So
yes.
You might be like very mildly nauseous, almost like a little bit of motion sickness.
Yep.
I know one time we got to Disney after doing the straight through 16-hour thing, and I had to lay down. I wasn't even really super tired, but I had to nap for at least a while to let my body kind of get used to standing still, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I understand completely. We walked around downtown Disney, and that's when I started to feel a little nauseous, and it may have been some sort of like motion sickness. Because it does take the toll on you if you do the majority of the driving. So for James, who's leaving from New Jersey, driving, he's probably got about the same distance as we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I'm going to do it, I try and do it now. I don't do the overnights anymore. I'm just getting older and don't really want to do the overnight drive. We used to leave at 7 o'clock at night and drive until early in the morning, and we'd get there early and have the whole day.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't do that anymore. So if we're going to drive straight through, typically what we'll do is we'll get up around, 3, we'll leave around 3 or 4 in the morning. Because with our work, we know, we're used to getting up at that time. So
exactly.
It's not as big a deal. Plus, the majority of your driving is then done during the daylight.
Yeah, I know here, once we leave like 1 or 2, I know I'm going to be at Disney for dinner, and that's just a big motivator on getting us down there.
Right, yeah. I mean, that should be your goal. The thing you want to think about is, when do we want to get there? Set a goal for when you want to get there and what you want to do when you get there. The last thing you want to do is get down there, and then the only thing you can do is crash.
Right.
And Star Wars weekends is going to be that's going to be a lot of stand-in and waiting because it is very crowded down there during Star Wars weekends. Great time to go.
Oh yeah, very popular now. Very popular.
Yeah, but it's going to be a lot of standing around waiting, and you don't want to be exhausted as soon as you get there. So I would recommend for Mike definitely for Mike to stop in between, and James, it depends on how much driving you like to do, whether you're going to stop or keep going, and your passengers. I mean, you got to take the passengers into consideration.
You do, because you got to remember, you're not the only one that's going to have to stop and use the bathroom.
Right.
And then you might be on a stretch where you can go for a couple more hours, and then somebody has to go, and don't let that frustrate you. You don't want to be frustrated.
No, you don't want to. You don't want it to be a miserable trip down there, because it takes you a while to get out of that funk. At least it does for me. Once I get down there, if I'm, have anxiety from the drive, it takes me a couple of days to shake that. Because then I'm up. Then I'm like, oh, it took us so long to get here. We got to really rush and get stuff done.
I know sometimes you can have a pretty relaxing drive on the way down, and once you hit I-4 and you get close to Orlando, you tend to maybe get a little wound up. One, you're excited to get there, and two, the traffic's just insane.
Yeah,
so
isn't it though?
You got both those things working against you.
Right. Now I will throw out a few things here. These are apps for your smartphones. Please make sure if you're going to use these apps, you can use these apps locally. Tim and I both use these locally, and but for your trip, they can become invaluable. But please make sure that somebody else is looking at the app, not you, while you're driving.
Let your co-pilot and navigator take care of that for you.
Absolutely. The first one that I really like, it's called INRIX, INRIX Traffic. And that can be an invaluable tool to avoid a lot of traffic jams.
You are a big fan of the INRIX.
I am a huge fan, especially after our last trip to Georgia to visit my wife's aunt. Mm-hmm. We were coming back through, of course, Atlanta, and my wife took a look at the INRIX, and she said, it's all red. All around Atlanta is red, which indicates that it's stop-and-go traffic. So we ended up taking a state route. We got off of I-75, and we took a state route and avoided all of that mess, because there's nothing worse than just sitting for me in traffic. So INRIX Traffic, it's a good one. I like that. The other one for stopping on your way down there, and I know you use this, Tim, is TripAdvisor.
Oh, love the TripAdvisor.
Yeah, it gives fantastic reviews of any hotel in any place in the United States, and really anywhere, I think.
Yes.
Definitely in Canada. I know I've used it there, but TripAdvisor is a great way to find good restaurants, good hotels on your drive down, and that way you're not getting, because you don't want what happened to me going to Niagara Falls when my wife and I first got married. We went up to Niagara Falls and had no reservations, and stopped and said, this looks like a nice place. We went in, and
not so much.
Not so much. So take a look at TripAdvisor. And then the last one, I'm always about saving money, Tim.
You are.
And so my other app that I love so much is Gas Buddy. It'll tell you where the cheapest gas is around you. So just might help you save a couple of bucks. You can also, when you're trip planning, depending on your route down on a computer, you can follow Gas Buddy all the way down your trip and see where the cheaper gas is at. So you might think, I'm down to a quarter tank of gas. I'm going to stop now when the next exit might be 10 cents cheaper or more. So those are the three I really like: TripAdvisor, INRIX Traffic, and Gas Buddy.
Excellent. Let me throw a little tip out there also.
Yeah.
If you're using like the Google Maps on your phone, while you're traveling,
right,
make sure you have unlimited data.
Oh,
because I have a friend from work who she was using theirs going down to, I think it was either Charlotte or South Carolina. And they got down there and they started getting notes that they were close to their data usage for the month. And it was just like the beginning of their billing cycle.
Oh.
Because they didn't allow for the fact that the Google Maps also uses the data.
Yeah, and a lot of it.
Yeah, so if you have a dedicated GPS in your car, you want to stick with that for some of the trip instead of relying on your smartphone, while you're on the highway. If you get off the highway, you're close to your destination, you want to narrow it down.
Absolutely.
Just something to be aware of.
Yep. All right, so we've got them down there. Tim, you love driving to Disney because of the benefits of having a car at Disney.
I do.
Why don't you tell them the benefits of having that car down there?
I just love the fact that I don't have to wait for a bus.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest one.
The bus, a lot of people say, is actually the best way to get maybe to the Magic Kingdom. And I kind of see their point because you don't have to, stop and get the ferry boat or the monorail. You don't have to park and catch the boat in the monorail. I've never had a big problem. It seems like there's always a tram right there.
Right.
But to the other three parks, absolutely. I prefer the car.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because
especially, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, if you're waiting for a bus to either get to the park or leave the park, and you're not on that first bus that's there to your resort, then you're waiting maybe 15, 20 minutes or more to catch another bus.
Right.
And you could already be back at the hotel if you had your car. So I'm just throwing that out there.
And really, when the park closes, as much as you want to try and stay and linger in the park, there's a lot of other people that are doing the same thing. And you go to get on that bus, and now you have to wait 2 or 3 buses because they are packed to capacity.
Right.
And again, we've talked about this on past shows. It depends on where you're staying, too, where the buses might be a little bit more convenient, but it's still easier with your own car, I think.
I agree, especially if you're at a moderate or a value where you can usually park pretty darn close to your room.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Exactly. And then what about going to get snacks to keep in your room?
You know what? There's some days you just want to go to Cracker Barrel and get a salad for lunch.
Yeah.
You know what? You don't want to get a burger. You want to maybe run to Chick-fil-A. We've been known to do that.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A.
Hit the Chick-fil-A. Hit an outlet.
One of our all-time favorite places, little Chipotle.
Oh, you can't go. One of our favorite places down there, I know you know this, is actually the Kobe Japanese restaurant.
Oh, that's huge favorite for you.
It is.
You drove down there for 3 days.
We took a drive
just to eat there.
Yes, we did. I think we talked about that on another show, but yes, out of a split-second decision, we decided to go that night. So, just throwing out.
That was fantastic.
And it didn't hurt. We had some park tickets.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's when you had.
Actually, I don't think we had them. I think
annual...
Dawn went to buy them. I think I went to bed and she took care of that. She went to AAA. She got some tickets. She got the van's oil changed.
Oh,
see?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I was thinking that's when you had the annual passes. But
I was thinking kind of the same thing too.
As before. Yeah. And the other thing is, it's just it's very convenient if the weather's bad. You can valet park your vehicle. A lot of it depends on where you guys are staying. They didn't really give an indication as to where they're going to stay. Obviously, if you're staying off property, I would not ever want to have to deal with. And I know that they're reliable. I know that there's not an issue typically, but to use an off-property resort's transportation back and forth.
Oh, their shuttle, yeah.
Yeah, I've never done that and never have a desire to do that.
No, I'd figure on if you didn't have your own car, maybe just consider a cab so you know when they'll be there.
Right. And really the expense. I mean, it's very expensive to fly now. So you're saving so much by driving down, even at almost $4 a gallon.
Who knew?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Any other things you can think of, Tim, that for driving down to Walt Disney World?
This is something that maybe we should have mentioned it off the top. Just make sure your vehicle's well maintained. You have good tires. You have an alignment.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than heading out on a 1,000-mile drive and realizing you have a tire that's not balanced or your car pulls to the right.
Right. Exactly. And really, make sure your vehicle is maintained and make sure that you sit down with everybody and talk about how this trip is going to go.
Yes.
You don't want no conversation to be there, and then one person's thinking, well, I thought we were going to do a lot more stopping, and the other one's like, no, we're commandoing it down, and then there's disagreements in the vehicle. Make sure you discuss how this from point A to point B is going to go.
Yes. Don't overpack.
Right, yeah. And we've talked about that on other shows too. There's plenty of Walmarts and Targets, and the beauty of having a vehicle is if you forget something, you can run out and get it.
Exactly.
You go on International Drive or 192 out there, and there's plenty of places to get whatever it is you need.
Oh, there's Walgreens, there's Publix, there's the Hess gas stations.
Right.
You're not in the middle of the desert at Disney.
No, you're not. And I know the middle of the desert, my friend.
With no air conditioning, you know the desert.
With no air conditioning. Yes. So I know that was kind of scattered. I hope that's what they were looking for.
I hope so. We're kind of all over the place, but I think everything we covered is actually very important.
Yeah. I enjoy driving down. I prefer to drive down for that convenience of being able to go where I want to go when I want to go.
Because you know what? The kids are in their own vehicle. They know it. They're comfortable with it.
Right. They can take their books. They can take movies. They can, if you've got DVD players or an iPad that the kids can look at or read.
Let me throw this out there. When you're driving through the mountains, turn off any movies and take away any iPads.
Yes.
Until the drive smooths out a little bit. I know our kids have had motion sickness issues in the car watching a movie going through the mountains.
Yes, so have mine. That's why we can no longer eat at IHOP.
That's your Tim and Bob tip for the day.
Yeah, you don't want them staring at a little screen after they've got a full belly from breakfast.
No. Oh, and stuck some plastic bags in the car door just so you have something in case you need it. That's all I'm going to say about it. But, you want to be prepared for anything that might come up.
That is a great tip. And, plenty of blankets and pillows in case somebody wants to take a nap, that kind of stuff. So, but make sure you have that conversation, make sure the vehicle's maintained, and you'll have a great time.
Yes, you will.
Don't make everybody crazy trying to commando it down like we do. We've trained our families.
Well trained, well bred.
But if you guys have any other questions, anything more specific, feel free to contact us. You can reach me. I'm Bob at ResortLoop.com.
I'm Resort Loop Tim. I can also answer some questions. If there's one thing we both know, it's driving to Florida.
Yes, we do. Well, we don't know podcasting, but we know driving to Florida.
No, exactly. What we need to do is caravan down there sometime.
No.
Yes.
No.
I could draft off you. Then people could just join in the caravan on the way down. It could be like a parade by the time we get there.
Oh, my gosh. I have done the caravan thing before, and here's how the caravan goes. Are you ready? All right. Where'd they go? They were right behind us. I don't know. Did they pull off the road? They're not on. I don't know where they're at. Well, should we pull over? I don't think we should pull over. We got to keep going. We got to be. That's how a caravan goes.
Hey, if they can't keep up, that's their problem. Everyone knows the final destination.
Well, they were flashing their lights. Why were they flashing their lights? I don't know. Do you think they broke down? I don't know. Keep going. See, that's how you would be. I'd be flashing my lights because I broke down, and you'd be like, hey.
See ya, sucker. You're rolling off to the side with a flat tire. No.
Oh, my gosh. That is fantastic.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, that's all I got, Tim.
That's all I have as well. Once again, thanks to James and Mike for the question. Again, any other questions, send them to us. You can find me on Twitter, ResortLoopTim. We also have that little website over there, ResortLoop.com, where you can leave questions and comments.
And I'm Resort Loop Bob on the Twitter. Don't forget Facebook.com/Resort Loop and rate us on iTunes. Don't forget to leave that show open. And what else we got, Tim?
We've got the Stitcher. Don't forget the Stitcher.
The Stitcher. I'm fading for some reason today, my friend.
I don't know why that would be. It's not like you've not worked all day.
I think that you may have gotten me sick.
Uh-oh.
I just want to go take a nap.
It was airborne. I think I was patient 0.
You are the outbreak monkey. Oh, my God.
Well, I got to get to the airport and infect another country. So this has been the Gateway to the Magic.
See you, everybody.
Do you need a break from modern living? Do you long to shed your weary load? If your nerves are raw and your brain is fried, just grab a friend and take a ride together up on the open road. Come on, Maxie! Yuppie!